I would like to talk about Article 24, the prohibition of employment of children in factories, etc. Part of our right against exploitation. The same chapter, right against exploitation, 23 and 24. 23 is about prohibition of forced labor and traffic in human beings. Now 24 is about prohibition of employment of children in factories, etc. So let me come to Article 24 in the right against exploitation, prohibition of employment of children. Prohibition of employment of children in factories, etc. Okay. In fact, it says Article 24 says no child below the age of 14. So, it is very clear, no child below the age of 14 shall be employed to work in any factory or mine or engage in any other hazardous employment. So, no child below the age of 14 shall be employed in any factory or mine or in any other hazardous employment. Very important, not any other employment, it is hazardous employment. Hazardous employment. So, it is very clear. Now, please do not forget, it is very clear, Article 24 is not banning the entire child labor. It is banning children being employed in factory or mine or in a hazardous employment. That means if it is not hazardous, you can employ a child according to Article 24. Okay. So, 24 is not banning the entire child labor below the age of 14. It is only banning children in hazardous employment. Okay. So, this is in the interest. Why are we doing? In the interest of public health and safety of the life. The children are our future. This is, this is in the interest of our children for the future, for the health and safety of the children. This is in the interest of the health and the safety of children. No doubt, because we have to nurture the children. They can be a human resource tomorrow if you are if their health is protected, if there is education, they will be an asset to the society. If they have no health and if they have no education, if they are illiterate, they will be burden on the society tomorrow. That is why we want to protect them, we want to nurture their childhood. They need to have the maximum possible, the best possible development of their brain, the spiritual, the mental, the physical development. We would like to have each and every child have the best mental, physical and spiritual development. Each and every child should have. And in fact, there is a very famous case, the MC Mehta versus State of Tamil Nadu. MC Mehta versus State of Tamil Nadu. So, this case was specifically about the matches and the fireworks factories in Shivakashi in Tamil Nadu. Shivakashi in Tamil Nadu, they were employing children in the matches, the match boxes, okay, the matches and the fireworks industry. And MC Mehta, a social activist, a Magsaysay Award winner, a great lawyer, an environmentalist, he approached the Supreme Court against the employment of these children in these activities, and it was a very famous case. And Supreme Court held that the state authorities should protect the economic, social and humanitarian rights of millions of children. Supreme Court said that the state should protect, that means the state authority, the government, the government of India as well as the state government should protect the economic, social and the humanitarian rights. Humanitarian rights of millions of children who are working illegally in public and private sector. Now, when it comes to the child labor, please remember, so Article 24 talked about hazardous employment, but there is a Child Labor Act which is enacted in 1986, which banned even non-hazardous child labor also, even the domestic child labor also, which banned the non-hazardous one. I'll come to that, but most importantly, a couple of things we should know about the child labor scenario in India. First of all, most of the children who are working, who are out of school and who are working, they are not engaged in these kind of hazardous employment. According to a survey conducted by various agencies, according to many surveys conducted, it is found that the children who are engaged in hazardous employment may be 7 to 8% of the total children who are working. Similarly, in the domestic employment or child labor, when I say domestic child labor, that includes the maid servants, the children who are working in hotels, petrol pumps, maybe in the mechanic shops, or car wash centers and this and that. See, such domestic child labor may be another 10 to 12%, non-hazardous. But the vast majority, almost 80%, the rest of the 80% of the child labor, they are happening in the villages and many a times in the families itself. The children, so what is child labor? See, child labor is a scenario where the children working for some economic benefit at the expense of their childhood and at the expense of their education. It's not children working. If your parents ask you to do something, at a younger age we were asked to do various small work, that is not child labor. See, child labor is the children working at the expense of their childhood, when they should be thinking about playing, then playing about something, imagining and taking leisure. If they are worried about earning some money at the expense of a childhood, at the expense of their education, at the expense of leisure, then it is child labor. It's not that if parents ask you to do some work, that is child labor. No. If the children are forced to do certain work for economic benefit at the expense of all these activities, then we will call it as a child labor. Otherwise, anybody working cannot be declared as a child labor. Now, another very important aspect about this child labor is the international law, International Labour Organization and all, it clearly says that any child below the age of 18, any person below the age of 18 working is a child labor. ILO, below the age of 18. They will be considered child labor only. But in India, our definition is below the age of 14. In India, we have conveniently kept a very lower age. 14 is too young. In fact, at the age of 14, you are only in 8th standard. So, if as per even the Right to Education Act also, you are only in 8th standard level. So, in India, below the age of 14, that itself is too less. 14 is too less. We are not willing to increase this. So, because the millions of children are engaged in that. I think 2001 census talked about some 10.8 million or almost 11 million children in 2008 census. Sorry, 2001 census, some 11 million, almost 11 million children were classified as child laborers. And even in 2011, the numbers have come down, but 8 to 9 million children were engaged in child labor even in 11 census. So, millions of children. Now, that is, see, this 11 million or 8 or 9 million, that is what the children have already said that they are child laborers. But if you look at the dropouts in the schools, see, right from the primary level, there is a huge dropout in our country even today. Millions of children are outside school. Millions are outside school. So, I am not saying that all of those children are working. Many of them are not doing anything. They are not simply not going to the school because school is not exciting for them. There is nothing for them in the school. There are a lot of problems in the school. There is no teacher, there is no infrastructure, there is no facility, there is no teaching, nothing is happening in the school. That's what the children say. So, there are millions of people outside the school, but any conservative estimate in India, it says 35 to 40 million children can be safely concluded as child laborers in India. Forget about the official definition, official census data and all. According to many estimates, see, around, if you go by a simple logic, the 6 to 14 years of children, around 190 to 200 million children are there in India. Now, even if we are talking about 20% of these children are outside the school, it is much more than that. I am just simply saying 6 to 14 age group, if all of them are in school, it's around 200 million, 180 to 200 million children should be in school. But our data shows that, our dropout rate in our country is very high. A very conservative dropout rate of even 30%. If you say 30% are outside the school, that means we are talking about 60 million outside school. Out of that 60 million, even if I say 50% are working, we are talking about 30 million people are working. So, many NGOs and experts have pointed out that India will have anywhere between 30 to 40 million child laborers. Even today, that is not a happy thing to talk about. So, we have a long way to go. See, the point again I am saying is, if the children who are supposed to be in school, if they are not in school and if they are working, then we are wasting our resource. The human resource is wasted. A person can become a resource, an asset, only if he or she has education and only if he or she has good health. Health and education. This is the time till the age of 18, this is the growing up age. That is the time where we have to actually support them, give them maximum education, maximum awareness, maximum skills, whatever skill. Now, when I say skill, it is not the skill development program which is going on by Government of India. That is a different thing altogether. We have to see our knowledge. That is the base and foundation. What we study in school is the base and foundation for the entire general knowledge, awareness. That is what we are made as a human being, or rather social animal in our school. Definitely, many a times we are very proud of our school and where we studied and what we have gone through. Why? Because there we got that socializing with other students, the teachers, the society, and we learned how to live, how to behave, how to be a good human being. We learned many a times in school. So, this out of school and the working children are not going to be an asset. They are going to be a liability to the society, in the coming days, or when they grow up, they cannot. A rickshaw puller can never be an economic asset. He will be an economic liability, because we have wasted his resource, wasted his talent, wasted his energy in doing that manual job which should have been done by a machine. So, anyway, that is the logic behind that. So, child labor even today is a big problem in our country. Now, coming to the government's approach towards the child labor, what all the government has done, the government's approach. We did not do much in the initial years, but over a period of time, the pressure started mounting on India from the international community and NGOs and all, human rights activists, and slowly we started working. In 1979, the Government of India appointed M.S. Gurupadaswamy Committee. Gurupadaswamy Committee in 1979 to look into the causes leading to and the problems arising out of this child labor. Then the committee recognized that a distinction should be made between child labor and the child exploitation. The committee talked about a need for distinction between child labor and their exploitation. So, exploitation is something else, other is child labor. Then, in 1987, for the first time, a national policy on child labor was, brought out. 1987, National Policy on Child Labor. And 9 projects were started in high concentration areas, 9 projects to, to eliminate or rather to take these children from the child labor, to take out the children from the child labor. 9 projects, especially in the hazardous industries, including the match factory and the fireworks in Shivakashi. Then also the stone polishing industry in Jaipur. Stone polishing industry, Jaipur. Also the glass and bangles in Firozabad. Glass, bangles, Firozabad. Very famous. Firozabad is famous, but it's also infamous for child laborers there. Also the brassware in Moradabad. Brassware industry in Moradabad. These are all, these places also you should know, because many times, it can be asked. Also the carpet industry in Mirzapur, in Banaras, Badoi region. Okay, the carpet industry in Mirzapur, Badoi and Banaras, the carpet industry. Similarly, the lock making in Aligarh, lock making. So all are in, in UP, Aligarh. Then tile industry in Jagampet in Andhra Pradesh, tiles, Jagampet. Also slate industry, Markapur, Andhra Pradesh, slates, Markapur. See, these are the 9 industries where 9 locations were identified. 6, 7, 8, and the 9th one, again slate industry in Mandsaur in slates again, Mandsaur, Madhya Pradesh. So this is how it was started. Okay, so 9 industries were identified as part of the 9 projects started after the national policy on child labor. 9 places where how the children can be weaned away from this child labor. Then a national authority on elimination of child labor was created in 1994. A national authority on elimination of child labor. On elimination of child labor. National Authority on Elimination of Child Labor was set up in 1994 under the chairmanship of the Union Minister of Labor at that time. Then, by 1995-96, 76, by 1995-96, the 9 industries were started earlier. Now 76 such projects have been initiated. 76 projects in various parts of the country to wean out children from the child labor by 95-96. And by 2016, we even started as part of this, this national, child labor policy, national policy on child labor. We are, by 2016, more than 6,000 special schools are in operation. Special schools are in operation. So a lot of steps are going on, and a couple of million children might have been taken out also. But the fact is, these are all more of numbers. 6,000, a big number. You may think that are phod diya. But the reality is, even now, millions of children are still working. They are not, they are not in school. That is the problem. So the idea is good. We have taken many steps. Child labor eradication, elimination program, NGOs are working, everybody is working. Our Kailash Satyarthi got Nobel Prize, his work against the child labor. It is true. But the fact of the matter is, child labor is still there. Now, what can be done? What can be done? See, 2-3 things I would like to remind you. One is, why is it happening, child labor? Child labor is because of the poverty. There is no doubt regarding this. There is lack of social awareness. Poverty of the parents. The parents are poor. They have no mechanism, they have no means to earn, and they have no awareness of need for education. That's the reality. So, the poverty and the discrimination and the class difference in our country, the abject, the poor conditions in which they are living, all are factors. That is why they are sending their children for some or other labor. So, what can be done? The most important factor, I will say, is it is all about implementing the Right to Education Act 2009 with full seriousness. Every child should be in school. You cannot allow the child, not 100% enrollment, 100% retention. 100% enrollment and 100% retention. That should be the spirit behind. That should be taken as a mission approach. A mission mode approach should be there. See, the only state in India where there is no child labor right now is Kerala. And there is no special child labor eradication programs in Kerala. The only reason why Kerala has no child labor, that is because we are able to, the Kerala government is able to retain all children in school. And they could create this awareness among the parents that children should be sent to school. And there is no pressure on the children in Kerala from the parents to work at their young age as a child, because of the awareness created. And see, we should give. So, one is there should be school, right to education should be implemented properly, facilities should be there, even the midday meal scheme and all should be implemented properly. See, southern states like Tamil Nadu and Kerala, we were the first states to implement the food, the midday meal scheme, implement the midday meal scheme properly. Midday meal scheme. And it's not just some food it is given, nutritious food is given. You know, in Tamil Nadu and all, even eggs are provided, milk is provided. So, like this, when you provide nutritious food to the children, there is a temptation or there is a incentive for the children or for the parents to send their children to school. Even a poor parents will think of sending their children to school because that provides them with the right kind of food and the nutrition also. So, there is the midday meal scheme can be implemented with full seriousness. Right to Education Act should be implemented with full seriousness, and the parents should be given incentive rather than punishing the parents. Parents should be given incentives. See, there are many countries, the direct benefit transfer can be there. See, countries like Brazil, where direct benefit transfer to the parents who send their children to school properly. The direct benefit transfer can be linked to the attendance of the children in the school. The parents should be rewarded. And it is the duty of the state. The most important thing is, it is the duty of the state to ensure that all children are in school. It is not the duty of the parents. You reward them, you benefit them, you give facilities to them. But it is the primary responsibility, the primary duty of every children to be in school is with the state. If the state can ensure, and it should be a social, as I told earlier also, where the bonded labor is a social evil, even child labor is a social evil. Is a social evil. And law alone cannot eliminate child labor. When there is a problem in the society, law alone cannot eliminate child labor. Child labor can be eliminated only if the whole society participate. It should be a people's movement. Everybody should be aware of this. If a child is not in school and if he or she is moving around, loitering around, it is the responsibility of the entire society, the elected representatives, the religious community leaders, everybody should involve and make sure that these children are in school. Then they can be converted in asset and child labor can be eliminated. There are no shortcuts. You cannot give, even in the new education, the draft education policy, they talk about giving skills in the middle school and all. It is all nonsense. This is not the time, no, don't give any skill, extra skill. Let them be in school till the age of 18. As ILO standard suggests, we should be able to provide education to all children, not just till the age of 14. In India, very conveniently, we are talking about 14. It should be till the age of 18. If we can educate them, and it should be government schools. Private sector cannot do this. So one more point I would like to add: the government, there should be government schools. Government schools are in a real tragedy today. We are not able to, and nobody wants to send their children to a government school. But just see the opposite when it comes to higher education. People want to send their children for MBBS in All India Institute of Medical Science, 100% government institution, IITs, Indian Institute of Science, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi University, all are government universities. If we can do a great job in higher education, why can't we do the same job in government, in primary education? So let us start with the model school. Even Navodaya schools, people are encouraging. So Navodaya school is a government school. So there is possibility. 100% we can do it. See, there is a will, the lack of will. The primary education or the school education should be the responsibility of the government. Government should give the best possible education. And to start with, every district, or rather every, I will say every taluk should have at least one government school which should be acting as a government and a model school where people should queue up for getting admission. It can be done. We can easily do. It's a question of will. Lack of will is the biggest problem. We don't want, our political class, they don't want people to be educated, unfortunately. The amount which we are spending for education as a percentage of GDP is so less, so meager. 1.5% of the GDP is spent on education. We should be raised to 5 to 6%. Things will dramatically change. So child labor can be eliminated in India only through universal education. 100% enrollment, 100% retention, best possible education to children till the age of 18. That should be our goal. It should be a mission mode approach. Lack of political will is the biggest tragedy. Child labor can be eliminated very easily, no difficulty whatsoever. So that's all about this child labor. Now, I will also be talking, in another video I will be talking about the Child Labor Prohibition Act and the Amendment Act which was passed in 2019, 2016. I will be talking about that also separately. So this is about the issues of child labor and Article 24.